We are all looking for ways to stay healthy this winter, from eating right to getting our flu shots.
And when it comes to good health, your first stop should be a visit with your family doctor.
So we are happy to have with us one today, Dr. Christy DeMock, a family medicine physician with Spectrum Health Medical Group. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're a fellow Spartan.
I am a fellow Spartan.
Yeah, true. And so you're super smart, and you brought a lot of advice for people to get through the winter months, because this is the time where it's really challenging to stay healthy.
It definitely is. I mean, we all kind of hibernate this time of year, and so kind of getting back on that horse and getting ready to stay in shape and stay healthy and protect ourselves throughout this cold, long winter we have in Michigan. It really is. It's a challenge, but it's definitely something we can all do.
So you have some great tips for us, starting out with how to dress.
Yes. So, you know, as we know, in Michigan, it's very cold. The climate tends to go up and down.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks very much for being our fellow weather person. But it really is. It's something that we should dress in layers. And the big thing is that you want to make sure you're staying warm and having loose layers. Loose layers let you kind of let tends to accumulate, whether it be snow or sweat. We want to stay dry. That's the big thing. If we get wet, we tend to get a little bit too cold, and our temperature drops very quickly.
And with layers, you can really easily take layers off.
Exactly right. So it is. It's a very smart thing to do, and just kind of layer on. It's so much easier to take off than it is to put back on or not have something that is so. The other thing is, you know, wearing hats and gloves, waterproof things. You're going to play in the snow a lot, and if that moisture gets in there, it's not going to go out very well, and you're going to freeze. That's the bottom line there.
I have to ask you, since we have you here, there's a myth about losing heat in your head. Is that true, or is that kind of an old wives' tale?
It is true, but I mean, basically, the bottom line is you want to protect your whole body from losing heat, and so if you're conserving it here, well, it's got to go somewhere. We're going to lose heat somewhere, and so if you're not having your head covered, it's going to go there. The other thing you worry about is covering those ears. Your ears and your nose, they're really prone to things like frostbite. As we get cold, our blood vessels constrict, and the blood flow is kind of conserved to your vital organs. Well, your ears, they're not so vital in terms of our body health. And
It's your comfort level.
Yeah, your comfort level. So so they're going to get cold, and they're more prone to frostbite, which means things like pain. Your temperature will change. You might notice skin color changes. All of a sudden, they're numb and they're hurting, and they feel like blocks of wood almost. Well, that's kind of a danger side, and to really kind of protect yourself by wearing a nice hat, for instance, where you're pulling it down over your ears, to protect yourself from basically losing ears, losing digits, hands, fingers, toes, whatnot. You really have to cover yourself up and conserve yourself against any temperature below freezing.
Well, that's all good to keep in mind. Another thing that I think that people forget a little bit about is skin and health care, and really how important it is that you're using sunscreen in the wintertime when you think it's just something you have to do in the summer.
Exactly right. I mean, the sun still has those horrible, dangerous UVA and UVB rays. And when we're out there, especially doing winter sports or playing outside, if we're lucky enough to have the sun shining, it's not only hitting our face from the sunlight, but it's also reflecting off the snow. And so we really have to think about covering your body with a protection like a sunscreen. And, you know, this time of year we think about things like basically just a face. That's usually what the part that's exposed to the sun. So an oil-free, hypoallergenic, kind of dye-free, perfume-free thing to apply to your face is the best, because then you're not going to clog your pores and worry about, oh gosh, now I'm going to have a pimple or acne outbreak or anything like that. So it really will help you and protect you from those, you know, harmful rays that can lead to skin damage, skin cancer down the line.
And what about keeping our hands clean? I see you have some hand sanitizer here. You can't always be by a sink and a faucet with soap. How do these compare to an actual bar of soap?
Well, they're actually really good. So, you know, when you're washing your hands with soap, you have to scrub and kind of lather for about 20 seconds and rinse with warm water. These really are very effective if you continually apply them throughout the day at preventing spreading and preventing contracting anything, especially out there right now. It is so hard to know who has what. Everyone seems like they have a cold. And so if you can carry one of these in your purse, or, you know, happen to have one by the sink or whatever there, it really does help you. Just one little pump, rub it together, and it does prevent very good. You know, most of them say, you know, 99% effective, and it is true. They really are true at carrying and killing most kind of bugs that are out there in the environment. So it really is good, especially this time of year.
Well, Dr. DeMock, I see you brought some food in, and one really important thing to keep in mind is what we're putting into our bodies, because we talk about that winter hibernation, and we tend to maybe not be as active as we are in the summertime. What kinds of things should we think about with our diet?
With our diet, the big thing is watch out for carb loading, and carbs are good, especially this time of year.
Love them.
Yeah, they are. They're delicious, and they're hard to pass up as you walk by them, especially at holiday parties. But it really is something that, making healthy carb choices. So instead of those great cookies and pieces of chocolate and everything that we all have, go for something without added sugar. Healthy things like bananas, apples, those are low carb, low sugar, but still have good healthy carbs to give us energy. They also contain lots of fiber, which is great for our health, not only for helping prevent coronary heart disease, but things like improving our GI function and everything. And they're great sweet snacks, too, to help those cravings, which is great.
And nuts for protein.
Nuts for protein. And they're filling, too. A handful of nuts can go a long way for a great healthy snack.
And many times when you are at these holiday parties or New Year's Eve parties, there's usually a little fruit tray or a veggie tray with some nuts, just as long as you're not dipping in the nice, little dressing and everything. And everything in moderation, obviously, but if you can incorporate a fruit or a vegetable into every meal and, as a healthy snack, you really can help improve, not only your calorie intake. It's hard to count calories, so at least, going portion size, going smaller, and then incorporating healthier snacks instead of doing, the cookie or, little piece of candy in between to help you out. It really does help, and it looks great that way.
Yeah, well, thank you for these tips. You've hit 3 really great areas. We'll keep them in mind as we enter and trudge through the winter season.
We'll make it.
Perfect. Yes, you do. Very good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Stay with us. We'll be right back.